But as leaders, we are not the most important people here today. It is the civil society leaders who, in many ways, are going to have the more lasting impact. Because, as the saying goes, the most important title is not president or prime minister. The most important title is citizen. It is citizens, ordinary men and women, determined to forge their own future, who throughout history have sparked all the great change and progress. It was citizens here in America who worked to abolish slavery, who marched for women's rights and workers' rights and civil rights. They are the reason I can stand here today as President of the United States. It's citizens who, right now, are standing up for the freedom that is their God-given right. And I've seen it myself in the advocates and activists that I've met all over the world. I've seen it in the courage of Berta Soler, the leader of Cuba's Ladies in White, who endure harassment and arrest in order to win freedom for their loved ones and for the Cuban people. I've seen it in the determination of Russians in Moscow and St. Petersburg who speak up for rule of law and human rights. I've seen it in the passion of advocates in Senegal who nurture their democracy, and young Africans across the continent who are helping to marshal in Africa's rise. I've seen it in the hope of young Palestinians in Ramallah who dream of building their future in a free and independent state. I see it in the perseverance of men and women in Burma who are striving to build a democracy against the odds. These citizens remind us of why civil society is so essential. When people are free to speak their minds and hold their leaders accountable, governments are more responsive and more effective. When entrepreneurs are free to create and develop new ideas, then economies are more innovative and attract more trade and investment and ultimately become more prosperous. When communities, including minorities, are free to live and pray and love as they choose, when nations uphold the rights of all their people, including perhaps especially women and girls, then those countries are more likely to thrive. If you want strong, successful countries, you need strong, vibrant civil societies. When citizens are free to organize and work together across borders to make our communities healthier, our environment cleaner, and our world safer, that's when real change comes. And we see this spirit in the new commitments you're making here at CGI to help the people of West Africa in their fight against Ebola. And promoting civil society that can surface issues and push leadership is not just in keeping with our values, it's not charity. It's in our national interests. Countries that respect human rights, including freedom of association, happen to be our closest partners. That is not an accident. Conversely, when these rights are suppressed, it fuels grievances and a sense of injustice that over time can fuel instability or extremism. So I believe America's support for civil society is a matter of national security. It is precisely because citizens and civil society can be so powerful. Their ability to harness technology and connect and mobilize at this moment, so unprecedented, that more and more governments are doing everything in their power to silence them. From Russia to China to Venezuela, you are seeing relentless crackdowns vilifying legitimate dissent as subversive. In places like Azerbaijan, laws make it incredibly difficult for NGOs even to operate. From Hungary to Egypt, endless regulations and overt intimidation increasingly target civil society. And around the world, brave men and women who dare raise their voices are harassed and attacked and even killed. So today we honor those who have given their lives. Among them in Cameroon, Eric Lemembe. In Libya, Salwa Bugaigas. In Cambodia, Chit Vuti. In Russia, Natalia Istemiryova. We stand in solidarity with those who are detained at this very moment. In Venezuela, Leopoldo Lopez. In Burundi, Pierre Claver Imbonima. In Egypt, Ahmed Maher. In China, Liu Shuba. And now, Ilham Tohti. In Vietnam, Father Lee. And so many others. They deserve to be free. They ought to be released. And this growing crackdown on civil society is a campaign to undermine the very idea of democracy. And what's needed is an even stronger campaign to defend democracy.